This story is going to make your blood boil. Put up the picture full mass. I'm going to tell you a story about a school aide whose negligence resulted in the death of a 6-year-old with special needs. New Jersey school bus aide has been convicted of child endangerment nearly 6 months after being arrested for the death of a 6-year-old child with special needs who suffocated while in her care. Her defense has now tried to blame the parents. This is an update. On July 17th, 2023, Davila, who was assigned as an aide on a bus headed to an extended school year program just outside of New York City, secured the nonverbal wheelchair-bound 6-year-old into a seat after she boarded. During the ride, the bus hit several bumps. These bumps in the road causing Williams to slip from her seat. Her neck caught onto the 4-point harness of her seat, which wound up strangling the child. Parents, Bar's parents, said their daughter was in that life-threatening position for nearly 40 long minutes. Surveillance video shows the moments Williams slipped in her seat while Davila, who was seated toward the front of the bus, was wearing earbuds while looking at her phone. Neither Davila nor the other children on the bus were all seated in front of the 6-year-old, saw the child struggling. Quote, I was scrolling through apps to go onto Instagram and texting, end quote, Davila testified. After the bus arrived at Claremont Elementary School, Davila helped 2 of the other kids off the bus before unstrapping Williams, who was at that point motionless and unresponsive. The aide called faculty members to help her, and a school nurse performed CPR. Put the picture back up. I want to remind everyone she is a bus aide, which means her primary duty, actually her only obligation, is to aid in making sure nothing like that ever happens. It also means she has specialized training. That specialized training gives her the do's and don'ts. And because she has specialized training and because she's in a position of public trust, she also has what's called a duty to care. That is a legal standard. A jury found Davila guilty of child endangerment, but cleared her of the manslaughter charges that she faced. The 27-year-old's defense attorneys argued that the victim's older sister improperly buckled the 6-year-old into her seat on the bus that day, which contributed to the child's death. Here's what the defense attorney says, quote, it's the parent's responsibility to buckle the top and bottom parts. The parents, I guess she delegated to her 14-year-old daughter that day, did put the top part. She didn't put the bottom. And that's why the little girl slipped. If that bottom harness was fastened, it would not have happened. Defense attorney Michael Pila Castro said, quote, I feel bad for what happened. And I'm so sorry that it did happen and I made a mistake. This is what she told the court. Quote, you guys are trying to put me in jail for 10, 20 years for a mistake. I'm partially to blame, but there's other people to blame too, not just me. Put up the picture full mass again. All right? So you want to blame a 14-year-old after killing the 14-year-old's sibling. You are a stand-up human being for sure. You're not saying you didn't kill her. You're just saying other people contributed to it. Well, listen, keep that picture up. If you're on this role, attorney, what about the bumps in the road? They contributed to the death. Let's charge the city. How about the person driving the bus? How about when the bus had to stop at a red light? Let's sue the contractor. You see, this is a never-ending dynamic. The one person responsible, the one human being who had an obligation, a duty to care, meaning a responsibility that's legally binding, was the person on trial. There's more. Prosecutor said there's no evidence to prove that the family was at fault. This was just conjecture. Davila faces a maximum penalty of 10 years behind bars for the child endangerment conviction. Had she been convicted of manslaughter, she could have faced 10 to 20 years more. She'll be sentenced on March 7th. We will follow this and give you the updates when it happens. Rickey, a story like this, man, because it's so avoidable, if you just follow very, very simple protocol. And when we put, and when I say we, as parents, as fathers, when we put our babies in your care, we expect everyone who follows a protocol to follow their protocol, because those protocols are in place for safety, not for convenience of you to go through Instagram, but for the safety of the child. And the defense was, in my opinion, was so extreme. They had not a lick of evidence to present for that defense, but they proclaimed it anyway, now trying to bring in the 14-year-old child who was being a dutiful sibling into this case. What say you?
Yeah, there's absolutely no accountability. The fact that she's shifting blame, is that what you say to a parent, to some parent that have to go and pick a casket out? And I have to tell you, you 27, you young or whatever, you have not experienced nothing bad until you have lost a child, have to bury your own child. And that's really sad. And it is your responsibility to double check. Put the phone down. How about that? How about all young people? Y'all so addicted to those cell phones that you can't take an order at a restaurant, you can't ring up nothing, and you act like we getting on your nerve when we come to stand in line to order a hamburger because we interrupting your time on Instagram. I get it all the time. You can't drive, the light turn green, you won't go through the light. You are so addicted to your electronic that to the point where you're doing stuff like that by not paying attention to small details. Somebody had to pay for it with their life, and for you to be unapologetic about it and blaming from the potholes to the or whatever, accepting no responsibility and accountability to anything. And if that was her family member or whatever, a better attitude would be different towards this whole situation. I just want to offer my condolences to the family that lost a little girl, and I am so sorry that they had to deal with that and go through that. And may God bless them.
Amen. I echo your sentiment. We'll bring you updates as they come.